Hi, this is Luke for Production Expert, and this is changing stereo width and keeping mono balance using DrMS from Mathew Lane. Now, usually adding or reducing stereo width with a widening tool can affect the balance in mono, but today I'm going to use DrMS to let me adjust the width and the subjective levels independently of each other so that it all stacks up, even in mono. So here's my mix in progress without any processing.
Where you thought you were winning on me, it's only now that I'm open to see that every road always has its thorns.
So first up, I'm going to widen my drums. Let's have a listen without and then with.
Where you thought
And I've got another instance of DrMS over here, just acting as a mono on my master. So staying in mono and going back to my drum instance, DrMS lets me fix that change in subjective level. So in the field section, I can feed some of the side signal back into the mid. So I'll just turn up field. And it's back. And if I just knock this in and out of mono, we can hear that we have achieved our width and we've kept the subjective level in mono. So stereo. And mono. Next up, on piano, I'm going to use DrMS to change the perspective of my piano recording. Let's have a listen.
where you thought you were winning.
So the closer you stand to a piano that's been mic'd up, when you think about it, the wider it gets because it appears wider to us in our field of vision, and it does the same thing as we hear it. So as we move back, it gets narrower, and as we move in, it gets wider. And the zoom effect replicates this. Now, what it's actually doing is feeding the mid signal into the side signal, but the effect is quite dramatic. So I'll just wind it back out and then wind it in so you can hear that again. I'm winding it in. But that's given me a nice effect that is different to simply adjusting the mid and side channels against each other. Now, by changing the balance between the mid and the side channels across my entire mix, I can make it wider in the classic style. Let's have a listen to that.
Where you thought you were winning on me, it's only now that I'm open to see that every road always has its thorn, but yours have been
Now, of course, this always changes the subjective balance of the mix, so I could always go back upstream and change some of my fader levels if I needed to. So DrMS doing a great job on channels and the entire mix there, but it also does a great take on center cancellation. Now, this is nothing new, but the way that it does it is really quite clever. Let's have a listen.
You smiled and said you were letting go, but now the joke's on you.
Now, I've based my preset on the factory one from Mathew Lane. However, it gives us an insight into how it's doing it. So, and if I wind out one particular control, you can hear exactly what's going on. Very clever and not quite as destructive as traditional methods there. So that is changing the stereo width and keeping mono balance using DrMS from Mathew Lane. To find out more and to read our full article, head over to the Production Expert blog.